What's going on, everybody? This is Taj Deshawn. Today, I'm joined by the one and only former St. Mary's baller, Miss Danielle Mauldin. What's up, Danielle?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for jumping on today.
Yes, of course. I'm happy to be here.
For sure. So I wanted to have Danielle on because she has such an amazing story. As usual, I love to invite people on who just completed my program, who I think have a lot to offer through their story. Not that everyone doesn't have a lot to offer, but specifically through the work Danielle and I have been doing together, I knew towards the end right away that Danielle was going to be able to come on here and really help a lot of athletes or just a lot of people in general going through a transition or a challenging time in their life. So Danielle just completed my program, but this is only the beginning. And I've told her that time and time again, this is only the beginning of us working together. We basically just laid the foundation. And we got a lot of work to do. So I'm excited for what the future holds. But Danielle, just to start out, let's let everybody know, just talk about what it was like towards the end of your basketball career, like how it ended, and then what life was like for you immediately after during that time.
So right after the season ended, I kind of had that little period of time where I was just on my own. I knew my next steps were going to be to play overseas. So I had at least had that marked down. I finished out my college career, went and played overseas in Germany for a year. And during that time, I was kind of having some inklings of letting me know, like, I don't want to do this for the long term, but I also don't know what the next steps are going to be. So I came back home, not knowing what my path was going to be like. I just started working at my mom's elementary school, did that for a little while, and was kind of miserable a little bit because it was just a job that I just wanted to take in the meantime, but I had no like real purpose and meaning behind what I was really doing. So I was kind of in like this lost frustration, like just trying to figure things in my life out pretty much after.
Right. What were some of those inklings that you had during, like towards the end of the season that you were like, all right, this might be it?
It didn't feel like fulfilling anymore. Like playing professionally is different. Like that team aspect kind of goes out of the way, and it's kind of like more selfish. And like I knew that's it's like I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna get my stats. I'm gonna do this, and that's gonna help sell me to get a higher contract and be with another team. But I mainly got into basketball because of that team aspect of being around people, my teammates, and because that kind of fell off a little bit, it kind of like made my love for the game kind of go down. I was like, I need to look elsewhere. Like I need to put an end to this chapter of my life. So,
right.
Yeah.
So you left voluntarily.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I did.
I think that's something that we should shed more light on. I think that's not talked about enough, losing love for the game. For a lot of people, it happens at the collegiate level. I know the professional level, I'm sure, like you experienced it firsthand where the business side really starts to overpower the love for the game, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that happens even at the collegiate level. For me, as soon as I got to college, I immediately started like year by year. By the end of my freshman year, I was like, man, I mean, I still had hopes of having a great career for the next few years. But at the same time, I was like, man, you could tell the business side was overpowering the love for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's common. It's something that's not really talked about because I think it's kind of unexpected when we all come from that high school level to go into college. We just think like we're excited about it, but I don't know. I'd say at least based on the conversations I've had, at least like 50% of us are not really feeling it anymore. It's just because you don't really know what you're getting into until you get there. So, but fast forward into you getting this teaching job and working with your mom. What was the mindset behind it? I mean, you went into it a little bit, but what was the mindset of like, I just needed to get something to make some money, or was it kind of like, how did you end up in that role?
I ended up in that role because I had no plan. So she was kind of like, hey, the school district's always here. You can always just try something out, at least like just to take a job in the meantime, just to get some money in your pocket. And I was like, okay. And I say that I want to relax and I want a break. And like, this was supposed to be the ideal time of my life because I was finally going to get a break in my life. But at the same time, I'm also like a person who doesn't do well with having nothing to do. So I was like, okay, job, take it. I'll do that in the meantime, just so I can get some money in my pocket to figure out my steps. I mean, hopefully this might lead. And I had no plan. So I was like, maybe teaching might be an avenue that I would like to do, just to test things out. So I was just like in a trial and error period of just trying things out.
Right. Yeah. That trial and error period usually ends up just being a lot of error.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of trials with no like progress at the end of it, at least for me.
Yes.
And what is like, can you describe what it's like to be, I don't want to say stuck somewhere, but be somewhere and you're like, okay, I'm here temporarily, but I'm trying to figure it out. What is that feeling like when you're trying to figure it out and you feel like you're not making any progress in terms of getting closer to where you ultimately want to be?
Well, it kind of made me like, I'm going to be completely honest. It kind of made me in a depressive state. Like I had been so successful. I had been like in my basketball career of always accomplishing and achieving goals. And now I was in this place where I had no real goal in front of me. So it made me feel like I was aimlessly wandering around trying to find out who I was, and it made me go internal and be like, who even am I? Like, who is this person without basketball? I didn't know who I was. That was a huge part of my identity as even a whole person. So I kind of just like shut down a little bit and just was like pretty frustrated because I really did want to do something. I knew I was meant to do something more, but just being in that phase where you just don't know what you're supposed to do is just completely frustrating. So
Right.
yeah.
For sure. What and after that you went immediately into coaching, or was there another in between job between teaching and coaching?
So at that time I was hustling. I was a teacher. I was a dog walker. I would take my principal's kids to school and back. So I did a little bit of babysitting. Like I did a lot of things. Like there was a whole list of things I could explain, but I was just trying to get some money. And so I was just doing a whole bunch of different things just to make ends kind of meet for me.
Right. So that was the stacking phase. That's all
Yeah,
it was.
it
It
was
was
for
just
sure.
stack up. We'll worry about the end result
For
later.
sure.
We'll worry about the vision later. I'm just stacking up right now.
Yeah, and how coaching came into play. I didn't really want to. I didn't really want to like be a coach. I just wanted to go help my old high school coach because I enjoyed playing for him. I was just gonna go be a volunteer for him and like kind of see what it was like to be back and hang around a little bit. And then he ended up offering me a position because he was leaving. So he was like, hey, I think it would be a great opportunity for you to get into coaching. And I was like, okay, let me try it out. And so that's how
Right.
I ended up in coaching.
Ended up, right. That's the key. And you and I have had this conversation a million times where a lot of former athletes, we just end up places because we're so lost, because we don't have any intentionality behind what we're doing. It's either someone just says, oh, you should do this, usually like coaching or sales, of course, or, we just kind of go on Indeed and aimlessly try to get the first job we can find, someone who will give us an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So you ended up in coaching, right? And then, I mean, how far were you into coaching when you and I crossed paths? It was a few years, right?
Yeah, it had been like coming up on my 4th year total.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's been about like 3 solid years, but coming up on 4 years.
Got you. And then
up the ranks like quickly.
Right, because you're a hustler.
Yep.
So it's only natural. Right. Yeah. And then did you and I connect on LinkedIn? Remind me, how did we come across it?
It was through LinkedIn. I forgot what popped up, but you just popped up on my it's like that main screen, like homepage timeline thing. And I was like, ThriveAfterSports. And I had been in contact with another person who was helping athletes get to careers. So I hooked her up with my current team right here. But I looked more in depth to your services after a while of like, I wonder if I could get some help in this area. And I didn't want to go through that because the woman who I'd worked with had left. So ThriveAfterSports popped up. And so I was in between reaching out to you and just dealing with my situation.
Right. And then when you and I had that first conversation, because I think you scheduled a call, during my website or on my website. And during the call, one of the things that was immediately clear to me, like I'm talking about right out the gate, as soon as we started talking, was that, of course, you wanted to do something more, but on top of that, you wanted to make a contribution. You wanted to have an impact, and we'll get into your business and what you're working on right now. But it was clear that you wanted to have an impact on people. And your business, which we'll talk about, is one way, but I know that you have a grander vision for how you want to do that. So let's talk a little bit about what it is that you felt like you had to overcome internally, or what are some things that kind of helped you clarify the vision? I know that's a two-part question, but what are some things that kind of helped clarify the vision and help you get over those internal blocks that you were dealing with at the time?
I just want to say, to start out, you have been a game changer in my life. Like, the impact that you have made in such a short amount of time. Like, I've never met anybody who has made such a huge impact on my life in just a short amount of time.
Do not make me emotional on here, please.
It's the truth. It's the truth. I don't lie. I don't speak like just trying to boost or boast anybody, but you gave me that hope and that spark again to take a chance and take a leap. It's like I had the visions and I had the things that I wanted to do already. It was just getting somebody to also see those things and bring it out of me and take action now instead of waiting. Because the things that I wanted to do, which is the business that I'm trying to start or starting now, it was something that I had inside of me, but I was I was like, that's probably going to happen more in the future. I'll wait and I'll just do this in the meantime and continue. But the frustration started building up where I was just like, it's just not enough. And so coming across your path, meeting you, you helped me work on some things internally with what do you think that you deserve, basically, and you can accomplish and you can go after your goals, and it doesn't have to be so far ahead in the future. You can start going after those things now. So working through just some personal growth exercises, finding out myself, like the exercise we did with just taking the personality test and all that kind of stuff, it helped me bring me back and like really work on and see who I am as a person, what I want to do just based off of who I am. So I feel like I didn't really know. I feel like I know who I was, but that helped solidify a lot of things for me by working with you specifically to help figure out those things. I don't know if that was answered.
No, that was a great answer. And thank you. Thank you for, it's obviously great to hear the feedback, to know that it's working, and I could tell from our first call, which is why I was so excited to work with you. I could tell that you did just need that push, because a lot of times, like, part of why I started Thrive After Sports is because a lot of people don't have the vision. So one of my goals is to help people clarify the vision and execute on it. So when someone like yourself comes to me and they already have a vision that maybe they've been toying around with in their mind, but haven't necessarily taken action on it because of whether that's limiting beliefs or, maybe they told someone one time and then they shut their idea down. Like, how are you going to do that? Maybe they have too many negative people around them or whatever. But it was really clear that all you needed was the push and just like, okay, let's connect you with some people. Let's get the steps mapped out. And then from there, you were off to the races, just because of, like we talked about in the beginning, you just being a go-getter. You just, like, when you have the plan mapped out, there's nothing stopping you from executing on it. Mm-hmm. So as much, and I do appreciate your kind words about, me helping you, but as much as that's the case, it was definitely a team effort, because everything that I said, you took it and ran with it. And when we regrouped on the next call, you had taken a lot of times more action than I expected you to be honest, not to like downplay it, but you came back to the calls with like, I did this, and I had this conversation and I put this into motion. I'm like, okay, now we're really going now. So let's, everybody's probably wondering what the business is. So let's talk about it. What is your business and the mission behind it? Let's get into it.
Yes, my business, I want to start a shoe line. It's called a Pomo. It's for women with larger feet. I've suffered all my life with trying to find a shoe, go out into these stores. And What's like, sorry. I'm sorry.
Is that mom?
That is mom.
And tell mom I said happy belated Mother's Day.
Taj says happy belated Mother's Day, Mom. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Currently my mom, like my parents placed in this COVID setting
Right.
just to be back with family. But yeah, back into it. I wanted to start a shoe line because I had dealt so long with not being able to find shoes for my size. And I also like to wear a lot of different clothes, and I like to be stylish. And just the fact that there was not shoes to match the outfits really made me.
All right, we're recording again.
I'll restart from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just edit that part out. So
okay.
Sorry about that, folks. I'm having some technical difficulties on my end. Danielle was right in the middle of talking about her story. So from the top, Danielle, what is the mission and the vision that you have for your business?
Okay. So Apomo is the name of my shoe line that I want to start. It stands for A Path of My Own. This is all this process has been about, is finding my own path. Having to do, firstly, started with my feet and my shoe size. It was really hard growing up, wearing a size 13 and a half, trying to go out and find shoes, whether it was basketball shoes, which I didn't have too much of a problem with. But the thing I was most concerned about was finding like dress shoes, heels, sandals, like flats, all those kind of shoes that I wanted to wear outside of the basketball court. It was really hard to go to stores and find them. I mean, so much trial and error of trying on shoes that were either too small or sometimes too large or too wide. So I want to start a shoe line for people who have suffered like me, help them find fashionable, stylish shoes. And I think that's important because it just helps people kind of underestimate the power of clothes. That helps present who you are, who you want to be, makes you feel good. I know I wear clothes a lot of times, especially different kind of colors. That's why I got my hair looking like this. But it's a feeling when you put on a pair of shoes or an outfit. It helps boost your confidence in some ways and helps you present yourself to the world. So I want to help others with that, help present themselves to the world and be confident when they put each pair of my shoes on. So that's the main goal that I want to do, help people in that ways.
That's beautiful. And I know that's going to evolve into so much more. Like, what is the long-term vision? I know you want to connect with multiple, colleges and universities and professional teams, even to kind of, what is like the long-term vision for Apomo?
Ooh, long-term vision. I really want it to be a whole lifestyle brand. I want it to turn into, whether that's donating shoes to girls who can't afford them through prom, who wear larger size shoes. I want to have like conferences come and like talk about people empowerment, being different. I want to empower others to embrace themselves. Like I want it to be like a whole, Apomo is like the way you live. It's finding your own path, encouraging others and boosting their confidence to step out into this world with a force.
That's so powerful. And it's amazing how you're starting with the small vision of, okay, I want to help other women overcome an issue that I've had, because that has to be devastating. I can't even imagine, you know what I mean? Like if it would be different if I wear a size 12, so I've never been through something like that. But you were even telling me a story about when you were in high school, not being able to find prom shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that has to be devastating. What did you end up doing, by the way? How did you work that out?
I found some shoes, but they were like a hint too small. Like a
so
hint, but I made it work. Like I only wore, and like the thing, like I spent like $150 on like that pair of shoes that really couldn't fit. And I wore them for like literally 15 minutes. I wore them for pictures. Like once I got in the limo, them things were off. Like, woo! I put on like a pair of flats that I had, some comfortable flats, but yeah, and it's unfortunate because that's you spend that much amount of money and you don't get the thing that you really want, which is to have some nice shoes on. Like I ended up wearing some dusty flats.
Some dusty flats. Right. You basically just wore them for the pictures.
Yes.
A little bit and then slid them off.
Yeah, those things came off. My prom date was holding them. He was holding them.
Oh man, he's walking around with some shoes in it. See, that's all bad.
Yes.
That's all bad.
Yes.
But that's good. You you took that experience and the experience that you've been having, and you know many other young women have had, and have created something around that, which is beautiful. I think that's how all great ideas start. You know, you identified an issue that you had and that it's still going on for a bunch of other people, and you're like, I think there's an opportunity for me to step in here and do something about that. So that's amazing. And you have another project that you're working on too, three young coaches, right? You want to talk about that?
Yep, my Young Coaches of Color brand. So I started that. It's Young Coaches of Color for young coaches in the college business looking for community. So I created a little community with my friends. I started inviting people out for the Final Four conferences to help them empower young coaches who need some more knowledge about the game, who feel like they need connection, because a lot of the schools that you go to, you're underrepresented. So having a community there where you can always connect, ask questions, network, and come back to help you feel like you're supported in the college business. So.
Right. And basically, so it's a hub for people to go get support and learn from. It's like older coaches, people who have been in the game for a long time, or just coaches in general, just sharing knowledge.
Yeah. It's young coaches. It's I mainly have there are some older coaches in there, but I have them be like a lot of mentors for young coaches coming up, because that mentorship piece is missing a lot of times. So having them come back and speak and network with our young coaches coming up, I feel like is important to help create a better community and coaching in general.
Got you. Okay, that's beautiful. And where can people go to learn more about what you're doing with that? With Young Coaches of Color.
They can follow us we have like all our social media platforms. On Twitter, it's under 3 Young Coaches. Same thing on Instagram is 3 Young Coaches. So those are our 2 main platforms for right now.
Good. Okay. And then as far as a POMO, you have a projected launch date when?
It's the projected launch date is December. It's December 2020. December 2020.
Okay, cool. Yes. So I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of people wanting to look into that. So I'll give you a chance to plug your social media at the end, but where can people get in touch with you right now if they want to stay tuned for once December rolls around and they want to know more about a POMO launch for the shoes?
Yes, for sure. I am easily able to contact through LinkedIn. I have just search my name, Danielle Mauldin. I'm on there. I also can leave a description link for my personal email, if anybody has any questions. That's mauldindanielle54@gmail.com. So those are my two main avenues.
Perfect. You're gonna have a lot of pre-orders.
I'm excited.
Especially around Christmas time. I told you I'm gonna get some too. I'm not gonna wear them. I'm gonna put them in a glass case. I'm gonna have a pair of heels in a glass case and be like, "This is the first launch of a POMO." People be like, "Taj, why you have shoes in your room? Why you have heels in a glass case in your room? What's going on, bro? You got something to tell me?" So
man, that's like people hanging like little baby shoes in their cars. You could just hang.
Yeah,
it might be too big. It might be swinging up in the waves. But
that's a good idea.
I appreciate that.
I'll put them in a car instead. That's different. Nobody's done that before. Just have a pair of heels hanging from the roof. You never see nothing like this before. That's hilarious. So another thing that I wanted to get to, because I think a lot of people, not just athletes, but people deal with this in general. Like, you were at this point when we were working together where you had the vision, you started taking steps, things are coming together for you, and then you hit another roadblock, which I still deal with to this day, is the feeling that you're not doing enough. Like everything's going great. Like the vision you had is manifesting. It's taking place. Opportunities are coming, and you still lay your head on the pillow at night sometimes thinking like, man, I should be doing more. I'm not where I want to be. And that voice is just, we just beat ourselves up, you know? So is there anything can you give advice to anyone, including me? Like, can you give advice to anyone who struggles with that?
The biggest thing, which is what I was working on with my therapist, is that I don't have to do everything at once. That's something I also I suffer with, is just, I feel like I'm not doing enough because I'm not doing everything. When in reality, I should look at it as just complete this task and that leads to another task being done, like checking off little check marks off the boxes, like knowing that you're okay. You had me work on the Warriors prayer. So I listen to that every morning, just repeating positive affirmations to myself, just reassuring myself, knowing that I'm okay. Journaling, I do a lot of that, meditating, and building my confidence through there, because when I talk to you or I talk to somebody else, and they repeat back to me what I'm doing enough. It's just me being in the control and saying that to myself as well. So I feel like, talking to other people also helps.
Yeah, solid advice. And it's crazy because those were some things that I recommended to you. And as I'm hearing you say that, I'm like, man, I should probably take my own advice and start doing some more of that.
Yes, for sure.
That's great. So thank you for relaying that back to me so I can snap out of that too. Everything's fine. I am doing enough, doing everything that I can.
For sure.
Everything's good. Another thing I wanted to ask you is, obviously right now with everything going on with coronavirus, a lot of collegiate and professional, well, mostly collegiate athletes, their seasons for the seniors, they're done. Like their seasons ended prematurely. You're even coaching some of these players right now. So what advice would you give to anyone who's in that boat, or just former athletes in general who are at this point in their lives where they're either being forced or, you know, they knew it was coming and now they're just trying to figure out the next steps? What advice would you give there?
My main thing for them is to this is a great time to spend some time getting to know yourself. Whereas you're first ending and you're just trying to find out, just trying to get a job straight off the bat and trying to find that out first. Really spend some time getting to know who you are. So I'd say journal, write some things down, reach out to Taj. He's a great resource, but like really try to find that mentorship and build those resources that ways, and be calm and know that you don't have to figure it all out at once. But I'd really spend this time getting clear on your next steps and your vision personally. And it's getting quiet and tapping into those things, those gifts that you have inside. Taj is a resource right here, but he's going to bring out those qualities that you already have within yourself to be great. It's just getting somebody to bring those things out of you and have you recognize those things. Because for a long time, at least for me, I only thought I was good at basketball for a long time, but I have a lot of gifts that I had untapped into and had put off to the side because I wanted to focus more on basketball. So reaching out to people that will help bring those things out.
Right, for sure. That's beautiful. Before we wrap up, of course, I have to acknowledge you and just say thank you, because even on this call, I'm learning stuff from you, you know, and while we were working together, I learned a lot too, just because anytime I'm coaching someone, it's interesting because I get to go back in time and coach myself through that period where I had nobody to kind of walk me through, you know, not that people weren't available. I just didn't reach out. You know what I mean? But working with you taught me so many different things. And like I said, I just have so much respect for you for actually applying the things that we talked about and taking action on them. And not just because I was telling you to do it, but because you had that drive to want to improve your situation. And I just, you know, I can't thank you enough for just trusting in me to guide you and help you get there. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited. Like I said, this is only the beginning. I'm excited for everything that's going to unfold. I'm excited to get my first pair of heels from you. You know what I mean? To put them on the way. On the way. December. Merry Christmas, everybody. Get your Como shoes. Get it going. Sure. One more time, Danielle, how can everybody get in touch with you to follow up with everything that you're doing?
Yes, LinkedIn. And I also am starting my website, but that will be up soon. More on my LinkedIn. I'll probably post it there. And then if you have any personal inquiries or questions, you can always reach out to me at my email, MauldinDanielle54@gmail.com.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, that's all the questions I had. You dropped gym after gym. I know without a shadow of a doubt, there's going to be a lot of value derived from this episode, especially for all the former athletes out there. So thank you again for coming on, and we will definitely talk soon.
Yes. Thank you, Taj. You're just a light. You're great. You're awesome. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. I'll talk to you soon. You have a good one.
Okay.
I know you got a million things to do today, so I will let you go.
I do.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks again.
Okay.